I was initially dreading it because I read the release. I mean, they had a million one-time items that were like, their one-time items were like millions of dollars. They basically said, listen, we're putting Google Glass on hold. We're not doing any more of this stuff. We're not doing any more.
What are you talking about? They're not doing any more of this stuff. Their margins would be twice what they are if they weren't doing this stuff.
Operating margin went to 24 from 28.
It's a spigot. You can't, but it doesn't turn off. I mean, they've been spending so much. I mean, this was the quarter where I felt they said, okay, we're going to start monetizing YouTube. You're
all right. The rates of monetization on YouTube are not what they are for pure search.
They're a
which
joke.
Is the greatest business ever created.
They're a joke.
And they still dominate it, but it's moving. Facebook, Atlas. I mean, you can Snapchat. I mean, Pinterest. You can go through so many different names that they are conceivably one day going to be challenged on for their core business. And the question is all the spending going to result in something else that which is equivalent to that?
Well, I would tell you that at one point they're talking about maybe doing a buyback because they realize that maybe they're a little more mature. I want them to spend on YouTube. How about some salespeople to sell YouTube? How about the fact that these commercials from the Super Bowl have been watched millions of times already on YouTube? YouTube is the most undervalued asset, but they have spent too much time, I know, doing Google feet and Google socks and Google hats and whatever. Google steak salad, like in a hamburger. They've done a lot of stuff that I don't like, okay? But the Google card, baby, this was the quarter where I thought they said, look, you know what? Maybe we've been doing the wrong thing. And maybe we have to return cash even. They were sensitive. The analysts are in revolt here, David.
Do they care, though? That's what I continue to wonder about.
I thought they cared.
64 billion in cash now. The people are arguing it's starting to burn a hole in their pocket.
I thought that they cared. I thought that they...
Why do you think? I don't know.
Because they were so defensive. They were so defensive. I mean, one guy said, why don't you hire 3,000? Wait a second. We're a little more disciplined than that. Discipline. Count the number year of YouTube. Noisiest quarter, but business on track. 18% growth in revenue. 17 times earnings. Why am I supposed to sweat the program? I'm not sweating the program.
You shouldn't necessarily sweat the program. And by the way, there is something to be said for companies that are willing to spend in order to try and stay on top. I mean, we could sit here years from now and say, God, those guys could have gone in so many different directions. And they, end up like a Yahoo, where when they were on top, they didn't do what they needed to do.
That's very
true. A
true.
la Amazon and his willingness to just, stiff-arm shareholders to a certain extent and say, I'm following my own path.